What's up, Flip Factor family? It's Michael Green with the Flip Factor Podcast, the #1 podcast dedicated to teaching you how to flip less houses and make more money so that you have the freedom to do whatever the F you want. Today, we're going to talk about the truth of flipping versus rentals, right? This is a big subject, and I have my favorite guest and friend and co-host, Delante Desouza. Before you jump in, Delante, you know what, I got a couple announcements. So let me get through them quickly so we can get right to business. So obviously you guys know every show we tell you that we have the Real Estate Flip Factor 10X group. It's a free group on Facebook. A lot of cool stuff happening there. We have challenges going on, like just really great value. If you guys want to learn more about high performance house flipping and don't want to pay a bunch of money to kind of get some knowledge, then jump on that group. It's free. I'll get you in. Doesn't cost a penny. Just go there and just ask to join the group and we'll make sure you can hop in. And who knows how long we'll be doing it for free, but we are right now. We love giving back. We're on there at least a few times a week. There's a lot of awesome people sharing some amazing content about how to really run a lean business. Also, if you'd like to work with me and learn how to create a super lean house flipping business, send me an email to mike@theflipfactor.net and let's see if we can work together. So let's jump right in, Delante. I promise we would keep those announcements quick and we get right down to business. Let's talk about today, flipping versus rentals. The ultimate battle.
Ooh, this feels like a death match about to happen. Like it's heat and it's about to get gory.
Well, most people would think that I'm leaning towards the flipping, right? Because that's what I do.
Yes.
How about you? Where do you lean if you had to pick a side?
I definitely lean towards the rentals.
So it's a death match. It's between me and Delante. So here's the thing. I love rentals. I love flipping. I'm going to break down the pros and cons of both today with Delante. So you can get two sides of the fence here, right? He loves rentals. I love flipping. And I'll tell you why but I truly like both, to be honest. That's the one thing most people don't know. It's really in business. It's about understanding what will generate you active income. See, rentals don't really generate active income right off the bat, right? They're very good long-term investments. If you were to go buy 3 rentals tomorrow, Delante, and I was to say, hey man, you can't work with me anymore, and you didn't have any income coming in, you really couldn't live on those 3 rentals. You'd have to go get a jobby job, right? You'd have to go out and bust some butt and make some money. And probably what you'd end up doing, what do you think that might be, Delante?
As far as my jobby job?
Yes, man. What do you think you would end up doing if you had a couple rentals, you couldn't make a bunch of income, you had to pay the bills?
Oh, man. I feel like I'll be in a dark place at that point.
All right, so we're not going to put him in that place, but I was thinking, and there's the answer I was looking for, but I could not go Delante into saying it. I just wanted to get him on record to say I was going to be a house flipper, but he won't say it. He will not even admit it in his darkest time. However, active income is the key to being able to survive and pay the bills, right? And that's why most people like to keep a job when they're initially getting into real estate, because they have to have active income to pay the bills. So when you learn to flip houses, it creates income now. Now, I'm not saying that you don't want to do rentals, but you can't just do rentals initially unless you keep a job, because something has to pay the bills. And I know a lot of people are like, Mike, what about the cash flow? When you're really building a portfolio, the key is you're taking that cash flow and that extra money you make and you're reinvesting it into building the portfolio. And you might do that for 5 or 10 years. So you're going to have something that pays the bills. So it's either going to be a male stripper. You might have to go become what else, Delante? Maybe greeter at Walmart. You might have to get a stupid job behind a desk that you don't want to do. All those things. Or you could flip houses and make some active income along with building your rental portfolio. So maybe it's not the death match we thought. Maybe it's just one actually serves a different purpose versus the other.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a really good point, Mike. You talked about how people are getting into these rentals thinking oh, if I buy 3 or 4 rentals, I can retire forever and live off the passive income because blah, 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 blah. But, back to the podcast that you had with Mark Owens, Mark Owens is a super landlord. I mean, he's built a rental empire, and he's always you have to reinvest the profits that you get from your rentals back into the business, And, we always see these websites, you go on Bigger Pockets and you see people who bought 20 units at 26 years old, you think they're crushing the game, but it's kind of what you talked about again with this paper income versus what's actually in your bank account. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. I like the way he said, I love the word Delante used, paper income, right? You're wealthy on paper, but you don't actually have any cash to eat and do the fun stuff that we'd rather do today versus when we're 60. Everyone, I believe the whole employee mentality is work your best years away. And then one day you'll get the gold watch, you'll get to retire, and you'll get to have fun. Like, that's 65, by the way. I think it's 65. I'm not saying that's old, but I'm not only saying that your better years might be before 65. Not all of us will even live to 65. And how sad would that be? I feel like it's a Alanis Morissette song, like it's like my day of retirement and a big hail ball hit me in the head and I died. Isn't it ironic? It's like, it's Alanis Morissette. I don't know the words. I'm making that up, but you get my point, right? I mean, you might not even live to 65. So my belief is make a little money now, but also aggressively build that rental portfolio so you can make some, you can have that wealth that's being grown. Because see, rental portfolios, the thing I like about now, I'm like fighting rental portfolios, but I love that it's a legacy play. If you have children, you have family, you're going to be able to leave that to them. And hopefully if you teach them some good stuff and you teach them how to manage it, they could be leaving it to your grandkids, your great grandkids, something that could really change the trajectory of your life and your family over the long period of time. With that being said, you got to eat. Right? You need some extra money. So the model I personally love is to be able to really flip like a beast, right? Be a high performance house flipper, make a ton of extra money in the easiest possible way. And then every dollar you don't use to live, that you don't need to save and protect yourself and have that nice little nest egg, could be used to put towards rentals and growing that rental portfolio. And then secondarily, any money the rental portfolio is making can be rolled back into growing it and doing like some really great stuff with it. And even the next part that I love about being a house flipper in building a rental portfolio together is I love that you're going to be in the mix. So you're constantly having deals come across your desk. So what I've noticed when I built my rental portfolio this last time, where I'm starting to build it just in the last 6 months, I've noticed that I've bought 3 deals and I've got like $150K in equity. And I literally have money. I can just take these and refi them and get like close to $150K out of them because I bought them so well. And the reason I was able to do that is because I bought 70 deals last year and I was able to pick the best 3 for rentals. So even if you were doing like just 10 houses a year and keeping the best 3 as rentals, flipping the other 7, maybe a combination of wholesaling and renovating and whatever you feel comfortable with, that's almost a perfect model you could do for the next 20 years, have a lot of freedom and really build that wealth and that portfolio you want. Because I've seen a lot of people build big portfolios and until they get to that finish line 10, 15, 20 years in, they're not really living high on the horse at that moment, right? They've got to get to that point where they can cash in. So you're going to need something to pull you through the dark times, essentially, right? So Delante, with that being said, would you consider maybe being a renovator just for the sole purpose of being a better landlord?
Yeah, I would definitely consider it. It's funny how like it's either flipping or rentals, but when you really think about it, you got to be good at both, honestly. If you want to run a high level business in real estate in either one of these fields, you got to be good at both of them. Like you can take your renovation and your flipping skills into your rental business to get the work done cheaper, get it done faster, and manage your portfolio better. You get better deals because you know how to find deals. They're really synergetic. What's that word?
Synergistic.
There you go.
There you go. I knew a word.
There you
I
go.
was waiting for this day that I would get a better word than Delante. Delante's way more educated than I am, went to a great school. And so I live for this moment. You guys were like, why does Mike care? No, I live for this moment to get one word right. That I knew it would come one day, and it's on the podcast, so I have proof that it happened.
Yeah, so it's really synergistic. I mean, when you really think about it, and both of these things really boil down to some core principles that we follow, like finding good deals, being able to create and make good deals. That's what entails being a high level house flipper and a high performing house flipper. But I think that's also what entails being a high level and high performance landlord too.
Yeah, for sure. 100% on that. You're right. I mean, everything you do to be a flipper is just the same thing to be a landlord. It's really not very different. It's just the exit strategy is changing. So obviously you could do almost the exact same thing because even these days, most landlords are fixing stuff up really nice because everyone wants to be a landlord. So there's a lot of competition now with rentals. So with that being said, how I've seen people doing a really great job of winning is really putting a nice product out for their rental so they can get top rent for it. They have better tenants. They're going to stay longer. And if they ever want, they can always flip that over as a flip or turn it over to create cash if necessary. They could refi out of it easier too because everyone's doing the BRRRR method now where they take and buy and fix up and renovate and resell and refi and all that. So I don't think resell was part of it. I think that's like the BRRRR method. I added like an extra R. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Bigger Pockets. I didn't mean to hack up your awesome system because it is a really awesome system that everyone's using. Really great concept. The guy from Bigger Pockets who invented it really killed it when he did so. So some awesome stuff there. It's a great idea, right? A lot of people are doing some some cool stuff with it. But with that being said, if you're worrying about refinancing, it makes sense to actually make a pretty nice property. So when you go to the bank, they're going to compare it to the top comps, and you're going to be able to get that cash back out of it so you can continue to keep buying rentals. So I'm going to go over some of the pros and cons of flipping in rentals. And since we talked a little bit about pros and cons of rentals, I'll start with flipping pros and cons. So we obviously know the number one pro of flipping is active income, cash now, ability to pay the bills, put money in your bank account, real money, cash in the bank, not paper money, right? Paper money you can spend now to live the lifestyle you want to live today. Feed your family, travel, whatever that might be, whatever your passion is that you want to be able to fund. The con of flipping is that it's an active job, right? It's not passive income. You're certainly going to have to put some work into it. It's going to require you learning some skills, being able to talk to people at a very high level, being able to close deals, being able to analyze those deals, being able to inspire contractors to do work for you. And when you do all those things, then you're going to be able to take and sell these, make extra money. But here's the actual bad side. That same con, you have to learn skills, is this con also for rentals. I mean, if you really truly want to be great as a landlord, you're going to have to learn all those same skills, plus a few additional skills of being able to pick good tenants and, be able to manage those tenants, or pick a good management company. These are also skills that you'll have to learn also. So there's a few additional skills actually to learn. Now, the negative of a rental, and I'll give you some pros too, but another negative of rentals is obviously you don't really make any cash right now. As everyone gets really focused on that, well, I'm going to make $500 a month, and if I had 10 of them, I'd make $5,000 a month. Well, yeah, that sounds really good on paper, but things happen, stuff comes up. Your $5,000 a month could easily turn into 3 or 2 or nothing, and you just don't know, right? It's just with rentals, like it really is going to that ability to make that $5,000 a month is going to be tied to your ability to keep tenants in the property and how good you are at retaining people. If you can't retain people well, you're going to not make that money you thought you were going to make that you're anticipating. So what really becomes a great safety net is being able to make 30 to 40K on a renovation, 5-6 times a year. If you don't know exactly what you're doing as a landlord when you're new, you get to learn. Right? You got a safety net. That is going to be the con of it. Now, the pro of rental, a couple good pros, obviously. I want to make sure I put those in. Long term, the work that you put into finding a flip is a lot of work. Right? The prospecting, talking with sellers. When you find a rental, it's the gift that keeps on giving. You do it one time, you get to cash in on it for life. So that's definitely going to be a pro for rentals, that you don't have to keep buying stuff 50,000 times a year. So it's nice to do both, because what you're doing is you're going to learn how to get great at finding properties, but eventually you'll be able to kind of just move out of the business if that's what you desire. If you really just don't like flipping that much and you want to just kind of live off your rentals, you'll be able to do that 10 or 15 years into the game, maybe even sooner, depending on how aggressive you are. I've seen people do it in 5 to 10 years, but trying to do it in a year or two usually is fairly foolish, right? It's just not going to happen that fast, in my experience, at least. So obviously, if there's someone out there that's done that, forgive me, for saying that, and I could be wrong. I'm not saying there isn't one person, just saying general public, usually taking 10 to 15 years. A lot of people doing it more retail are going to take 20 to 30 years. But if you know what you're doing, you're getting good deals, you can do it quickly. The next benefit of having rentals is you get depreciation, which I really like, because that helps you pay less taxes. It helps you as a flipper. It's going to help you take that income down. You're going to have some cool stuff. And again, it's very generational, being a landlord. Very generational. Houses never really, they're always there. Rents go up, values go up. If you're picking the right properties, you're not only collecting cash flow, but you're collecting appreciation. Your rents are going to double and triple over the time you own them. Someone else is paying your mortgage for you. So there's definitely a lot of upside to being a landlord, but only if you're good at it. One of my number one sources of flips is failed landlords, because so many people suck at being a landlord, because it's one of those things that's been definitely, people have made people believe, like the general public has made people believe it's easy to be a landlord. Like, oh, you just find someone who wants to rent and they just save the rent every month. There's a little bit to it, right? There is a lot to being a landlord, the laws, getting people to pay, picking the right person, putting the right product out, pricing the rent right. All those things are pretty important. Picking the right neighborhood to be a landlord in. There is more to it. However, if you are flipping and running a business, you're going to be at the forefront of all that. You're going to know like what's what to do, what not to do. You're going to be very tied into the industry. Does that make sense, Delante?
Yeah. And actually, with that being said, I kind of want to play devil's advocate for a little bit. People always talk about rentals are kind of like the safe play. You buy them and then, they grow over time and stuff like that. Whereas with flipping, they're like, look, man, you could lose your shirt in this business. You could make a bad investment on a flip and lose your life savings. So what do you say to that con of flipping? I think the risk with flipping are a lot more than they are with rentals, especially with doing rehabs.
Yeah, the perceived risk, because if, people think like, well, I make a big mistake and, I end up losing 10K on a flip. Well, what if you have a rental and it takes you 30K to get even, or 30 years to get even on it? I think that might even be a worse problem. It's just one is like slowly tearing the Band-Aid off and the other's like ripping it off. You're like, oh my God, 10K. And they just rip the Band-Aid off. The other one's like a super slow Band-Aid removal. Cause like I've seen people buy rentals and just be in an awful spot, owned them 10 years, have no equity, never lost money on them every month. That's just as painful as losing money on a flip. I think the common denominator between the two is that you get your stuff together, right? You know what you're doing. Get smart about the business. I can tell you that literally I have a house coming up that I might break even on, may even lose a couple $1,000. It will be the first house that I've lost money on in 121 houses. And I know very, very exactly why I'm going to lose money on it. I know what mistakes I made and how to fix them in the future. So as you get smarter at this, and if you're following really good, strong systems, often you're going to be able to buy the house correctly and buy it with a lot of built-in like safety net. And same thing with rentals. I mean, if we've got $700 a month cash flow, maybe we make some mistakes and we'll still make money usually, because if we make those mistakes, we still do. But when you're buying houses, you got $150 a month in cash flow, man, you got zero room for mistakes. So a lot of times when you hear the horror stories with flipping, and honestly with landlords too, really this is just real estate horror stories. It always starts with someone did not educate themselves. Someone did not take time to become smart and become a pro before they made that really big investment. I always make the analogy, they jumped in the pool and there was no water in it, like head first. Didn't even check to see if there was any water in it, whether the water was warm, like whether they had the proper bathing suit or nothing. So I'm the guy who's definitely going to be analyzing the chlorine. I'm going to be checking the depth of the water, doing some, oh, hold on, let me make sure the trajectory of my dive's not going to hit my head on the bottom. I'm that guy. And, you don't want to totally be that guy either, by the way, but you certainly don't want to be the dude who just jumps in head first and there's no water in the pool and he cracks his head and gets in a lot of trouble. So that's usually the horror stories you hear. And those horror stories, surprisingly, are a lot less than the great stories out there. So, I mean, there's people who lose money, but there's going to be people lose money in every industry. There's going to be people that buy stuff, make big investments, and just don't do any work. The typical person, the typical person who wants to get in house flipping never does a thing, right? They literally never do any of the work necessary and they never get results because of that. I can tell you, and you've seen it in our coaching program, that anyone who does the work, 100% results, period. They get it. They have to do the work though. And that's the key. So if you want to take away the risk from house flipping and buying rentals, then yes, you're going to have to put some work in. You're going to have to become smart about this. This isn't a gift falling from the sky, get rich quick biz opportunity. It is something that investors have been doing for hundreds of years and something that's always going to be a big part of our economy, our fabric of our industry. And there's always going to be a need for it. So it's something that you learn today. This never is going to go out of style, being a landlord or a flipper. Flippers have been around forever. They've just been glamorized recently with all the flipping shows and stuff. So, it makes it feel like it could go away tomorrow, but there's been people buying properties, reselling them, making profits, whether they're doing it long-term, short-term. People have been doing this for way longer than me and you've been living, Delante.
So with that being said, it seems like both are viable strategies to create income, whether active or passive. How do you decide which investment strategy is right for you in the moment?
So for me, obviously, I'm running a business. I want to be very thoughtful of my cash. Anytime that I decide to do a rental, it's going to take some cash initially, right? It's going to take some cash to buy it, some cash to fix it up. It also represents me taking a potential 30 or 40K income out of my portfolio, one that I could have. So I'm not technically losing money, but I'm losing the opportunity by taking and putting it as a rental. So that's going to be income that doesn't come in my business, right? And on top of that income that's not coming in, there's money that's going out without any income coming in for a period of time. Now, if we're using the Burr method in 6 months or maybe, anywhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on how long it takes us, we can get all of our money back, maybe even get a little bit of money on top of it. But if we get all our money back, we're good. But now, we got 6 months of that money that could have been used to do a flip, that, the flip money that we could have made off of it, that all is going to affect your business. For me, I like to find the perfect balance between doing rentals and not completely destroying my flipping business. Because if I was trying to do 10 rentals a year, it would actually put me in a really awkward position in my flipping business, cash flow wise. So I decide based on, what I got going on, what cash I have available, and will this 1 or 2 rentals I buy, will they affect the cash flow of my business, which is super important to me because I respect my cash flow. Not having enough cash is the number one reason that investors fail. It's the number one reasons that investors stay up at night. When our bank accounts are really low and we've overcommitted, or we have houses that are sitting for a little bit, not selling. None of that's true when you're you're managing your money well. So anytime I choose to do a rental, I actually put it through that gauntlet of questions that I'm going to ask, like, where's my money at? How much money do I have? Is this money that's going to affect my business? And this is why I don't have 1,000 rentals, because often when I ask all those questions, my flipping business is prioritized over my rental business. I'm starting to make a little bit of a shift now because I want to, start to build some wealth, and, I want to make sure I've got some money in the future and some houses going. And I'm pumped up about rentals. So I'm gonna have to make a conscious decision. Now, if like for Delante, for you might make the decision that, like, as long as I got like minimum money to live, I'm going to put every extra dollar into rentals. So that way your portfolio is going to build a lot faster than mine, because your focus is building that portfolio. Mine is really just building like 20 houses that I can pay off in the next 10 years. That would totally be awesome. Houses that got good appreciation, have that ACE acronym, where it means they're in appreciating neighborhoods. They got great cash flow, 500 to 700 bucks a month, and they have equity in them. Meaning, like, if tomorrow I hated that rental and someone moved out of it, I could sell it off to Delante and make 30, 40K, or take and fix it up a little bit, put it on the market, sell it as a flip. I like that, because I want to have options, right? I think all the best investments have multiple exit strategies and have a lot of options.
Yeah, and I think the key word that you said there was options, right? If you get a house and it's a deal, you're going to have options at that point. So it really is up to you on what you want to do with it. But I think it's good to just be in a position where you're buying houses at a deep enough discount where you can decide whether, hey, I want to throw this into my rental portfolio, or it could work as a flip too. It shouldn't have to be an either or. I mean, it should be an either or thing. Like, you could have this option or you could have that option.
Yeah, I think it's totally just being clear, though, having a strategic plan, know like what you're doing and why. I think most people are buying rentals because it's filling an emotional need, right? Like, we feel like in everything we do, right? We got to be very careful to make sure it's not feeding our ego. Because, right, if you own like 10 rentals, would you be able to sit with the people you went to college? Would they look at you and look up to you and be like, oh my God, you own 10 houses? You got like, that you're so awesome. Would you feel successful if you owned that, if you had made that happen?
Yeah, they would be like all over it for sure.
100%, right? I mean, it's going to make you feel good. It's the same thing when you start scaling the volume in your flipping business and you think that it's going to make you feel more important, like you're more successful. We always got to be really careful not to make business decisions with our hearts. And be careful, because often our heart is very slick. It'll find a logical reason to get us to make a heart-based decision. And we'll start finding all these logical arguments that we'll make, like, well, rentals are really good long-term. And, and I'm not saying they're not, but I'm only saying don't let your heart make that choice, because trying to feel successful and all that, like, it's the fastest way I've seen people get into some stuff, right? And myself included, by the way. I always say people, but no, when I say people, there's probably not a mistake I haven't made. There's probably not, that I can think of at least. And part of how I know a lot is I've had to learn a lot the hard way. And I've had some coaches teach me, and sometimes they taught me and I was a hard head, and I went and did it anyhow. And I don't advise that strategy, by the way. If I could take back anything I did, it would be listen to my coaches, because I've had a lot of good coaches along the way, and I'm a little bit of a rebel, a little bit of a challenger. So I don't like to always follow instructions, and it's definitely been something that's cost me a lot of money over the years. And I'm working on not doing that anymore, because it just isn't helpful. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't like to follow the rules. But when I follow the rules and I'm really thoughtful, and maybe that's me acting with my heart, by the way, right? When I don't follow the rules. So when I get more truly like objective about things, I now make decisions. And I feel like right now, my first rental portfolio I built was all heart-based, and everyone told me how awesome I was because I owned 30 rentals outright. Well, this new rental portfolio has been very strategic. And I have to tell you, it is 6 months in and it's kicking the butt of my old rental portfolio. It literally is like so outperforming my old one, because I'm coming at it strategically, zero emotions. I'm not even telling many people I'm doing it. I mean, I guess I just did, but for the most part, I'm not bragging about it, not talking about it in detail very much, because, I don't want to brag about it. I don't want to get this sense of like being pumped up about it, essentially. I want to secretly do it, and then just, you guys wonder how I got that yacht.
Unveil it in 10 years. Like,
exactly.
Oh, Mike just bought a spaceship. How do you do that? That rental portfolio.
He must be really good at flipping. He must be a great house flipper. Yes, I'm going to buy maybe I should declare I'm going to buy a spaceship. Like Gary Vee is going to buy the Giants. I'm going to buy a spaceship.
Yeah.
He's buying the Jets. That's what he's buying, the Jets. He's not buying the Giants. He's buying the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm buying a spaceship. How about that, Gary Vee?
There you go.
We'll both be in the land of failure. So, Delante, I know you got a good story to share, so let's hear it. I don't even know the one today, but I'm sure this one will be about real estate, right?
Kind of.
Oh, man. Okay, man. There's going to have to be an editorial approvals in the future, I believe. Let's hear it. I don't like the sound of the way you're going already.
Don't worry, this was good. This was good. In recent news, it turns out that there's a French mayor that's handing out free Viagra so that his village will procreate. Interesting, right? So here's
Viagra?
yes, Viagra, right?
Oh, God.
So here's the scoop.
Well, first of all, do they have ED problems where they need Viagra to make babies? Or
I see that's part of the question we got to figure out.
can we get him on the phone? Can we talk to him? Does he speak English? Because I think I have questions for this guy.
I think he speaks French.
Okay, we'll get a translator.
So basically, there's this small town, this village in Montereau, France, which is southeast of Paris. It's about an hour out from Paris. What's going on is the mayor wants to, enrich the economy and stuff like that, bring more money in. So he's thinking that, we need to raise the population. Now, what he notices that people aren't really procreating at the rate that he would like to see. So he's trying to sign a bill to hand out free Viagra so that couples can procreate and create more children to raise the population in the village to start bringing in more income. Now,
I feel like there's a lot of holes in this philosophy. This is why I should have been a mayor of France, because I literally could have solved this problem without any drugs 100% of the time. You make me mayor of this city and I would get the procreation like skyrocketing. He's laughing, but look, you're not giving out Viagra. You need to give out Barry White CDs for free.
Oh, there you go.
That's the key, man. Because what is Viagra going to do? I think most people are okay in that department, obviously. And then the people who aren't probably aren't looking to make a bunch of babies in their 50s or whatever. But you throw some Barry White down, some wine, turn the lights down, and and start to hit it's the slow dance, yeah, baby.
There you go.
That, then all of a sudden, there's going to be a lot of babies. Now, all right, that's my plan to get the babies in. But here's the hole in this whole thing. Babies don't pay taxes. So, how is the money going to go up if he makes a bunch of new babies in there and he's got to wait 18 years for them to work, collect taxes, do anything? Basically, they're just babies just suck life from everyone and for many years.
It almost sounds like the whole rental thing we were talking about.
I don't know about the rental thing, but you know what it reminds me of? I think they're thinking about volume and not quality.
Ooh.
What if they would make Montrose Paris? Is that what you said the name was?
Montereau, Paris.
Montereau, Paris. Okay. What if they made Montereau, Paris the coolest place to live, whatever, an hour outside of Paris? And then it would start bringing people there, people wanting to live there, being the coolest town. And it would actually be bringing people with kids, bringing people with money, injecting money into the economy. And growth means you need new houses, you would need new things, right? So it's really quality over quantity. I think having like 700 new kids doesn't really do a lot for the economy. So I still like the Barry White idea. I'm definitely thinking that's the way to go.
You should write a letter to him and say, look, man, you got to check out this artist. His name's Barry White. I'll send you a free CD.
Yeah, here's my free mixtape. You should put something together and be like, here's my free mixtape. Give it out to your people.
Package it with every case of Viagra.
Dude, we're like, yeah, man. And people are like, oh, Delante, I didn't know you had a CD. Yeah, I'm real big in Montrose, Paris. Montrose, France, man. They all know me. You'd be like a superstar.
Oh, that would be cool.
It would be cool, man. Like, oh, man, I made my baby listening to you, Delante. Because I don't even think Barry White's alive anymore. I think he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a little too frisky. All right, well, good story, man. That's a funny one. Very real estate based, by the way. Yeah, man, good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was totally has nothing to do with anything, but they're so funny that I feel like I keep letting it slide. Is there no real estate news, or is your brain just don't keeps heading you can't you keep getting pulled into this clickbait?
Yeah, I can't resist a good juicy clickbaity story.
Okay. That makes sense, man. I get it, man. That's why I don't look. You got a Mac too. Usually we don't get as much of that on Macs. Dude, it's been a great conversation as usual. Cool stuff about rentals and stuff. This is such a big subject. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the future. We bring on a lot of guests that are rental based because I do believe the three areas I see everyone making money is, rehabbing, wholesaling, and doing rentals. It's where a lot of the money's being made. So with that being said, I love those three things. And, I think that anyone who's an investor should definitely have an understanding of doing all three. And the common denominator, what I believe is the engine of all three of those things, is being able to prospect and close a deal. If you can do those three things, then, or do that one thing, that being a prospect and find deals, then all three of those things are very easy, because that's what makes you a great landlord, is finding a great deal, right? If you start off with an amazing rental in a great neighborhood with a lot of cash flow and a lot of spread in it, you can make some mistakes and do really well, is the summary. And house flipping, same thing. You're going to need to find a good deal. If you're going to be a wholesaler, you need to find good deals. If you're not finding good deals, you're probably struggling. This is probably pretty hard for you. So if you want to find more good deals, then I would recommend you join our real estate Flip Factor 10X Facebook group, completely for free. And all we talk about in there is how to find good deals, right? That's it. Also, if you'd like to work with me personally, you feel free to send me an email at mike@theflipfactor.net. And again, appreciate everyone watching the show. Delante, thank you for everything and good stuff. I really appreciate it, man. Have a great day. Thank you again, Flip Factor family, for joining us. This is Michael Green. My work is done and your work is just begun. Good luck, my friend. See ya.